what is that dumb saying? Don't throw stones at glass houses or
Yeah.
whatever.
Hmm.
I mean, 'cause that's what all the owners are like. Well, if we throw stones at him, then everyone's going to start throwing stones at me. Welcome to episode 303 of Empty the Bench here on the Empty the Bench Network. He's Zain. I'm Nick Morgasen. Follow us on social media at ETB Sports, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Follow the Empty the Bench Network at ETB Network, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at ETB Network. Follow our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network, as we continue to grow numbers across that platform. And also, if you can't watch the video side, listen to Empty the Bench wherever you get your podcasts, all platforms, Apple, Spotify, Acast, excuse me, and a bunch of other platforms. All right. It is officially Super Bowl week, which, by the way, this NFL season officially flew by in more ways than one.
Yeah, it
Um,
sure did.
and I can't believe, by the way, Super Bowl 60, big milestone number for the NFL. We're going to talk a lot about the Super Bowl. This is our big show for us, at least. And then we're going to do a lot of other Super Bowl programming, which I'll talk about at the end of the show.
Yeah, I guess you could call it shoulder type Super Bowl content.
Yes. So we'll get into the Super Bowl. Obviously, that's not the headline, even though that's what I really wanted the headline to be this week. We're gonna get in. Obviously, we're gonna talk about the Epstein files and the connections to the Jets and the Giants owners and a bunch of other NFL owners that has come out. Giants co-owner Steve Tisch was mentioned 440 times inside the Epstein files, which you would think that's a little bit of an obsession, right?
Yeah, especially for a guy that you can correct me if I'm wrong because you're the New York guy, but I don't think he's really in the public sector all that. I don't really hear of him like always being in the media. Maybe it's because I don't follow the Giants on a day to day basis, but he's a name that I don't really know all that well.
So you have John Mara and you have Steve Tisch. That's the ownership
And
group.
obviously I know who John Mara is because isn't his dad the founder of the Giants, right?
Well,
Mhm.
or they've owned the Tisch and the Mara family of their fathers owned the organization before Steve and John
R-
took it over.
Right.
But there's a lot of information. We're not going to have time to go through the whole thing, but I'll give
Yeah,
you a bunch
if we did, we'd be here what 3.5 hours.
more. And if you go back to, we did a bonus episode, press row on the fallout of this whole thing, so you could go check it out over there. And I don't know, we might do it on forecast. I don't know, but it's a tough topic. Um, we'll get into the Super Bowl, how we got to this point of the season. We're going to do our preview. Like I said, you and I will be live as part of the football forecast show on Friday
Yeah.
when that comes out. So you'll get,
And then you and I are preliminary discussing whether we do a live show for episode 304, but we haven't confirmed that yet.
yeah, I mean, there's a more reactionary aspect because that's we'll put a bow on the NFL season. A lot of head coaching moves, some defensive coordinator moves, offensive coordinator moves. We're going to get into a bunch of. This is the second straight week of coaching carousel news.
Yeah, there's even a college coaching move that we threw in there, but we only threw it in there because it's NFL related, so that'll be interesting to talk about as well too. So
Uh, Also, Lakers Knicks. That was the first Sunday night basketball on
and the most
NBC.
expensive ticket of the NBA season, right? At least so far.
Close to it, yeah. Because there's the speculation of LeBron's going to retire after the season, which I don't know if he will. I think I think he's more likely to leave the Lakers and maybe go back to Cleveland or play in New York for one more season.
I'd like to see him go to the Knicks. That'd be cool. As like
I
a
mean,
swan song year. That'd be cool.
I mean, the amount of tickets and the amount of jerseys and the amount of stuff that would be sold that year alone would be, and the tickets would be wild in every way shape, or form.
Would you come out of NBA attendance retirement to try to go to a Knicks game in the preseason or something like that?
Oh, I would go during the season if he was at MSG for
Oh,
sure.
oh, you would?
Yeah, I would go to at least one, but the tickets are going to be stupidly expensive to go. We'll
For
talk about
sure.
UFC 325, uh, Volkanovski versus Lopez. Um, I don't know. You and I were talking about this before the show. I thought some of the scores were a little odd the way it looked. Um, I also think Diego was literally just chasing Volkanovski around the octagon for the entire fight.
That I can agree with.
So that fight kind of bored me for the first 3 rounds of it. Because I feel like Diego was just not doing anything at all.
You're not the only one who believes that.
And I like
So,
Diego. I met Diego, so I think he's a nice guy. He's a great guy actually to get to know personality wise. But
right.
but the fight was kind of dull, at least for three quarters of it. And then we'll end the show with our official Super Bowl predictions, even though you're going to get more predictions from us on forecast.
On forecast, and I will do my own separate preview on episode 76.
Yeah,
So,
so you're going to get a lot of Super Bowl coverage, and we have a lot of live coverage that you and I are going to announce at the end of this show because
we haven't fully announced all of it yet. I
I
thought we've
I,
already I
I
thought we've
haven't
already announced all of it.
no I haven't announced all of it yet, and I have a list, so we're going to go through it at the end. But let's get going. Obviously, this is the major headline everyone is talking about. Jeffrey Epstein's the files have come out officially with connections to the Jets, the Giants,
Russell
um,
Wilson, in which he denied.
which a lot of people gave him shit for coming out and denying it. Well, what do you expect if you're not guilty? Wouldn't you come out and deny if something was up against you? Yeah, I
Of
mean,
course.
but the big one, obviously, and I have a list. Front Office Sports did an incredible story on all the possible connections that Epstein supposedly made with NFL owners, and obviously the one we got to look at is Giants co-owner Steve Tisch,
Yeah,
who
that's a
was
little bit of a strange one. That's a
so
little bit of a strange one.
he was mentioned 440 times within I think there's 3.5 million documents in total,
Yeah, that's pretty odd, isn't it?
and so according to the Front Office Sports story, they did an incredible job getting this information. Messages between Epstein and Tisch from 2013 show the financier appearing to connect the producer with women for dates. Tisch's messages to Epstein included lines like, quote, "Is she fun?" and also, quote, "Is my present in New York City?" After
Wait,
Epstein,
wait, wait. I'm a little bit confused. Who would be the producer in this?
that's Tisch, because Tisch also produces movies. Also,
Oh, interesting. Okay, now I got it. Keep going. I got
uh,
you.
but one, you have to say those quotes are a little creepy.
Oh, those are not just creepy. Those are in the nicest way possible to keep it still as politically correct as I can. Those are very out there messages. Those are very let's just say you have what I want and I'm going to get it by any means necessary kind of thing.
Right. And after Epstein described what one woman as Tahitan I don't even know how to pronounce that.
How
Um
is it spelled?
Tahitian. I think it's Tahitian.
Yeah, Tahitian, I think.
So
Yeah.
Tahitian speaks most it's a name, I think. Tahitian speaks mostly French exotic, Tish said. Working girl, in quotes. One of the emails sent by Tish said he was in an NFL meeting, which, by the way, when we go through this story, you're going to see that phrase come up many times that these owners were in NFL meetings. Tish admitted Friday night that he and Epstein, quote, had a brief association where we exchanged emails about adult women. Okay, you just threw yourself under the bus. No?
Yeah, especially if they were emails on a work related email, that's even that's even worse. Like that,
But this Tish situation is wild. You're mentioned 440 times. You're being a creep. You're saying, "Is she fun? Is my president in New York?" Almost like it's an inanimate object showing up at your front door, like like you ordered from Amazon and the package is going to show up. I mean,
yeah, like you're talking about humans as if they're objects and not who they actually are. They're human beings. That's like pretty. It's like pretty terrible.
I mean, I've had a chance to react to this a few times on shows, but like, how can this guy survive?
I don't think you can.
But the issue you're going to run into from a legality standpoint is you need 24 of the 32 owners to vote to force him out.
And you also, which I don't know, you can help enlighten me on this. You probably also need some more like hard evidence other than just email correspondences, right?
Yeah, but emails are kind of hard evidence if you think about it.
No, I get it, but I'm saying wouldn't you need more enhanced evidence, like maybe images or real accounts from people who saw all of it happen or anything like that?
I think it's just a bad look because the Epstein files have 3.5 million documents in them total. And
Unreal.
and
Unbelievable.
let me be clear about one thing so people don't try to misconstrue this. Part of it is obviously the political entertainment side, and the other side is sports because you have all the big name celebrities like Jay-Z and Diddy and all those people who came out on the other side of things. And this is strictly sports related, what we're talking about here. And there was a ton of NFL owners involved. Tish is the biggest name that has come out and, like I said, been seen 440 times listed in the documents. Now, the other thing that people are misconstruing, and you could talk about this from a journalistic perspective, what I'm about to say, sometimes names were mentioned, but it was misinterpreted as doing an alleged crime.
Right. So just because the name is mentioned with no further context, you can't say factually that they were linked without like literal proof that they were linked.
And
That
that was happening. That's the problem. Some of the owners, like the front office sports stories, like they did the best job out of all the stories I've read. And
that I
they'll
agree with. That I
and they'll
agree with.
and they'll say, okay, these are the correspondence that this owner had with Epstein.
Which is what they're supposed to say. You can't just blindly make up just because oh someone referenced him one time in passing or something like that. That doesn't mean that there was an affiliation.
Right.
So,
So there's an interesting one with Josh Harris also.
yep.
So Josh Harris is the owner of the Commanders, the 76ers, the Devils, Crystal Palace,
He
and
might he might be the one that could be in the biggest course of trouble given the stakes he already has. I mean
well,
I mean just think about it. The Commanders tried to clean things up after the whole Snyder thing and now they have this thing over their head. I mean it's a bad look.
we'll get to Snyder because Snyder was mentioned too. But so I'll read you some of the correspondence from the Josh Harris point of view. So
Okay.
emails between Harris and Epstein's assistants, and occasionally the two men directly show Epstein's repeated attempts to schedule or invite Harris to meetings. Now, let's be clear about something else. Epstein was looking to get in anywhere he could possibly get because he wanted big friends from the world of sports or Hollywood or any of that stuff. So he wanted connections. He wanted to be able to invest and do things. So just because some of these owners are mentioned, it doesn't mean that they committed illegal activity.
Correct. Yep.
So, like I said, emails went back and forth. Um, Epstein repeatedly attempts to schedule a meeting. Harris mostly dodged those meetings, but did attend at least one breakfast meeting in 2014. Epstein asked Harris if he had fun at breakfast, to which Harris replied, "Yes, very much. Thank you for inviting me." And Harris also responded to a message in 2016 saying he'd be happy to catch up, and a lawyer soon reached out to Epstein at Josh's request. Uh, Epstein had close ties to Harris's company, Apollo Global Management, which happens to be the holding company for all the teams.
What was the part where the lawyer reached out though? I may have not fully heard you.
The lawyer reached out for Epstein to have a meeting.
Oh, okay. So he reached out on Harris's behalf.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Epstein had close ties to Harris's company, Apollo Global Management, which is the holding company for the Commanders, the Sixers, the Devils, and all the teams.
And are they still the holding company?
Yeah, that's Josh Harris's company. Um,
Okay.
the co-founder, and this is where it gets a little murky. The co-founder of Apollo at the time, Leon Black, resigned in 2021, a few months after it was discovered he paid Epstein $158 million and lent him more than $30 million. Harris had wanted him to step down immediately. Quote, Josh Harris has never had an independent relationship with Epstein, a spokesperson for Harris told FOS. Harris sought to prevent Epstein's attempts to develop a corporate relationship with Apollo. As these emails indicate, Harris sought to avoid meeting with Epstein, canceling meetings, and having others return his calls.
So did he just give away the money to get Epstein out of his sight? Is that
Well,
is
the co-founder at the time, Leon Black, was the one who gave him the money, and then Harris forced Leon Black to resign because he gave Epstein money.
no, I know, but I'm saying, do you think at the time he was trying to give him money to get Epstein away from all that, or
I'm not sure.
do you think he had other motives?
It could be A or B. I don't really know. They don't really confirm that, but
Do you think it's a good question though?
it's a good question. I don't know the answer. Epstein was a terrible guy and did whatever he could to gain power.
No, that's true.
Um, and then I'll give you one where it's strictly just mentioning of the name. So David Tepper, who's the owner of the Panthers, was mentioned. Tepper crops up twice in Epstein's inbox with a redacted sender calling the Panthers owner very smart and very funny in an email to Epstein, and another man asking Epstein if he knew Tepper. That's it. So Tepper was just mentioned by name.
But
Stephen,
that final email you just said where the question was asked, that went unresponded.
yeah,
Okay.
Stephen Ross was mentioned, the Dolphins owner. This got a little odd, like about a mansion tour and possibly buying real
A
estate.
mansion tour of on you mean a mansion tour like he and Ross, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, Epstein exchanged several emails about Ross and related companies. I think that's Ross's like big holding company.
Right.
In early 2010, Epstein seemed curious about and asked to connect with someone regarding Stephen Ross and the related group and a very interesting investment opportunity.
Okay.
Epstein pressed about whether Ross was involved. My relationship with him is similar to yours and mine. Very honest, very open, very good friends.
Right.
After a disappointing mansion tour in 2014, Epstein received an apology email saying, quote, I and Steve am deeply grateful for your participation. And then apparently Stephen Ross threw a New Year's party, which apparently Epstein was invited to. Apparently it just became a huge mess. So a lot of these NFL owners are involved. But the biggest one, in my opinion, was Robert Kraft.
Well, yeah, given Kraft's previous history, this is potentially massive.
So Steve Bannon, if you know who Steve Bannon is.
I do, but wait a minute, just to clarify, isn't it true that all the stuff that Kraft allegedly did was like maybe like a decade ago was like thrown out or whatever?
It was. The charges were dropped. You're talking about the prostitution scandal inside the spa.
Yeah, which did that actually happen or no?
He did go there, supposedly.
But but like what they alleged he did by ruling of the courts didn't happen.
Well, the charges were thrown out.
Right.
So Steve Bannon sent Epstein an email about Kraft's day spa charges, which were later dropped. To which Epstein responded, quote, 90% inaccurate. Wow, he's okay. Epstein also said in a text, "You need to know about a past issue with Kraft that may come to light." Now, did you see this? Because that quote was trending all over social media.
I did. Wasn't he texting with like a random assistant or something like that?
So that has to do with the spa, the prostitution charges, I think.
Right, but I'm saying wasn't he relaying this to like some sort of like just singular name that was listed in the thing, right?
I don't know. I just know this had to do with Kraft and Epstein and Steve Bannon and emails going back and forth.
Okay.
Um, what else? You need to know about a past issue with Kraft that may come to light. Kraft hired Florida lawyer Jack Goldberg, who was part of Epstein's legal team after he was first charged in 2006 in his 2019 prostitution case. The new files show Epstein telling Goldberger that, quote, "I'm trying to have him hire you," after Kraft was arrested. Charges against Kraft were later dropped, and it was found that law enforcement had made illegal recordings in the case.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But all these big names are just insane. Like, you can't make this up. Like, a lot of this stuff that's involved. Um, and then Dan Snyder. Dan Snyder apparently was involved in this too. In a 2008 email, helicopter flight is approved. He's featured in a 2016 email as being moved from dinner and preview to preview only for an event.
Wow, wait a minute. We went from 2008 to 2016 that quickly?
Yeah, because it was a 2008 email, and then it got featured in a 2016 email of the story.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Um, Snyder was also mentioned in a 2020 email about an inquiry from a TMZ reporter about a rumor for Snyder's arrest in connection with the Epstein Maxwell investigation, to which an unknown person responds, "Insane. There are also blank pages with letterhead from former team executive John Kowalski, who, according to LinkedIn, has worked for the team between 2012 and 2015." Um, I don't know. Like, how do you process all this information? Like,
I don't know if you can.
but I think the shield has been a little penetrated, would you say?
Yeah.
Like, you and I were talking about before the show that Jamel Hill came out and said, like, oh, that at the Super Bowl press conference, like, Rogers got to address the Epstein files and all this stuff. How do you address all this information during Super Bowl week? I don't know if you can.
I don't know if you can, but I guess you can certainly do it in the post-mortem press conference, which is the Monday after the Super Bowl. I
I
don't
just
think yeah, I don't think you could do it before the game. And the reason why I say the post-mortem press conference is because there's not much to it, and he's only up there for 15 minutes, and he's not going to reassess the game he had spoken about the night before. So
ugh,
I don't know.
it's just
Or he could,
stupid.
or he could do it at NFL league meetings in the spring too.
I would wait till the season is over because you don't want to disrupt the Super Bowl week and the game.
I think so
Um,
too.
but this thing is so insane that Epstein was involved with all these owners and all these different things that were going on. And Epstein was just on a power trip on his own accord. And I don't know, what can the NFL do? Or what do you think the NFL is going to do?
Well, they have to investigate the Tish thing. That's for sure. They have to open up their own internal investigation. That's what I
I
think.
think the Giants need to open up their own investigation too, not just the NFL.
No, I agree.
But 440 times to be mentioned in a document. I mean,
I mean, that's grounds for if he did anything remotely illegal, he should be terminated.
but the problem is you can't terminate an owner. Their money is in it.
No, no, I know. But I'm saying you should get I think if you get the right I think if you get the right sediment, I think you'd get enough owners to vote on that.
I just hate how much, not just NFL owners, but how sports owners are a fraternity. Like they all like defend one another, even when they're the worst human beings, some of them of all time.
Right. Yep.
But I don't know. I find it ridiculous. I find it insane that now we're seeing all these names pop up out of the blue being connected to the Epstein files. And the Epstein files are going to take down a lot of big name people. It already has taken down a lot of big names involved.
Hmm.
Um, so I think Epstein should be forced. Excuse me, Tish. Tish should be forced to sell his portion of the team, but it's not going to happen unless they get the votes necessary for.
Right. Which something tells me with some of those other NFL owners that they might say that he's fine to stay, which is wrong. But as you just alluded to, the power that they have, they could easily do that, and he could still remain there, which would be wrong. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know
What
if
it,
the NFL can overrule that. I don't know.
what is that dumb saying? Don't throw stones at glass houses or
Yeah.
whatever.
Hmm.
I mean, 'cause that's what all the owners are like. Well, if we throw stones at him, then everyone's going to start throwing stones at me. Like if I start calling out other owners for stuff, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Uh, all right, let's move on. Super Bowl 60. How did we get here? Um, I don't know. Where do you want to start here?
Well, let's start with, I guess, the beginning of the season, because obviously these two teams were not very likely to make the Super Bowl.
What was it? Plus
Um,
20,000 or something they said for this
yeah, it's
matchup?
one of the most unlikely Super Bowls ever, if not the most unlikely one. So how we got here was that in about week 5 or week 6, the Patriots beat the Bills on national TV,
Sunday Night
and,
Football.
and
Yep.
we came on the following Wednesday, and we said, okay, we need to start watching New England as a Super Bowl contender. And I think after they beat the Ravens, I'm pretty sure I told you that it looked like that they were gonna at least win the division. I didn't know how far they were gonna go, but I thought after the Ravens game, which was also a national TV game, that I thought they had a chance to go pretty far. Now they're in the Super Bowl. You can say whatever you want about New England's playoff path, but they have essentially dominated every team they played to this point. And I know Drake May isn't going to win MVP, but as a bunch of us, not me, but a bunch of other contributors on here have said, if New England at least goes to the Super Bowl and loses, at least they're further ahead than where the fan base may have thought. And then Seattle, it's just a great story. You have the youngest coach in the league in Mike McDonald. You have a lot of stars on both sides of the ball. You have JSN, you have Devin Witherspoon, you have a pretty solid running game when those guys were healthy. And that's a team that just kind of clawed. They won a crazy NFC West that had a lot of parity in it, and they essentially dominated for the most part every single team they played. In the postseason, minus the NFC Championship game. And yeah, I mean, both of these teams I think are deserving. It wasn't my preseason prediction whatsoever, but it's definitely a fun rematch. Will it be as good as Super Bowl 49? I don't know. But what I can tell you is it's I guess the next generation. You have Sam Darnold versus Drake May, two unlikely quarterbacks that you didn't think were going to make the Super Bowl, and now one of these guys has a chance to win their first. So I think it's pretty cool, and it's nice to see a fresh matchup. So that's kind of how we got here, and I think it'll be a good game, and I'm excited to fully predict it with you later on in the episode.
Yeah, this has been a very up and down season due to injuries, due to certain teams not performing up to standard. Um, I would say Buffalo is probably a huge disappointment this year. The way
Yeah,
because everyone thought they were going to be a huge contender.
yeah,
Um, don't get me wrong; they won games when they needed to. Josh Allen's an incredible quarterback. Um, Sean McDermott had to be fired. Uh, 9 seasons, no Super Bowl appearances. And then obviously you just have some others that do it, like the Chiefs, who fell from grace completely, and then Patrick Mahomes gets hurt.
Yeah, that's also, Nick, to kind of add to your point about Kansas City. That's an older team, so you sort of knew they were going to break down at some point. No one thought they were going to break down in the way that they did, though.
And Travis Kelsey looks like a shell of himself.
Yeah.
Now, I would say the Ravens, big disappointment this year also. Everyone thought they were going to win, what, 12, 13 games?
Yeah,
And
Ravens were a huge disappointment. You and I speculated about it. I still think Lamar is semi-injured. Hopefully, he gets fully healthy.
yeah, I
So
mean, he couldn't run out of the pocket the entire season. He couldn't escape. And remember, like, he's one of the best at escaping the pocket. When it collapses, he'll take off for 15, 20 yards and save the down so that they don't lose yards. He just kept getting sacked all year.
I know.
I'm trying to think if anybody else really stood out. I mean, Matthew Stafford, even though they got eliminated, the guy's 37 years old or 38 years old. He's going to win the MVP for the regular season. I mean, he had an incredible year. Is there any other teams that, to this point or this knowledge, that we didn't talk about?
Well, I mean, you want to talk about surprise teams? I know there were some parts of the season where it was more surprising than not. I don't think the Bears expected to have their win total fluctuate the way they did. I would have been okay with a 8-9, 9-8 season, but to see them win the division and win a playoff game was a surprise.
Yeah, I mean they had a really good year. And again, I have to reiterate this so people don't come after me because I was being satirical on other shows about the Bears, but the Bears had a really good season, okay? Ben Johnson's a really good coach. I'm still not 100% bought into Caleb Williams yet. I think there's a lot of potential there, but he still needs another year or two under his belt to really be the guy and really carry this team to a big playoff run and maybe a Super Bowl one day. Um, I think the Panthers were a big surprise this year also.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Bryce finally looks like he came into his own.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they have a decent receiver room now. The running back situation is a little bit better. I mean, heck, they had wins against Green Bay and the Rams during the season, and they almost beat the Rams in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, all in all, it was a great season. A lot of injuries to big names. A lot of coaching firings by the end of the year. So I don't know. Was there any other shocking things to you up to this point of the season that really caught your eye?
The one that I think surprised me the most was how inconsistent the NFC East was as a whole division. I thought that was going to be a better division overall, especially with the Eagles just having won the Super Bowl. I thought they were going to be back with a vengeance, and it felt like for part of the season I was watching the 2023 version of the Eagles where they just weren't consistent enough. And I mean, that's what happens when you have injuries. That's what happens when Hurts isn't fully, in his zone. Because when he's in the zone, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
But they won
And
that division easily, though.
no, they won it easily. My point in saying it though, it was such a weak division that once they got in the playoffs, they were exposed because they went back to their old ways of not finishing games against good teams. And I'm going to be the first to say it right now. They had a chance to beat the Bears, and they couldn't win.
Well, Saquon was not healthy towards the end
No,
either.
I know.
And AJ Brown's got to go. Like AJ Brown is kind of turning into Antonio Brown a little bit. And I'm not saying Antonio Brown will always be the clown of the NFL. But would you say AJ's been semi difficult through
He's
this
been
whole process?
he's been a little difficult. I mean, even the incident on the sideline before the 49ers game was just stupid.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, I don't
Oh,
think
and
he's.
then sorry, continue.
I was just going to say I don't think he's going to be there next year.
I don't think so either. And then last I'll say before we move on, another big surprise to me, and I understand why you may disagree, but Pete Carroll, the master of the turnaround, goes into Vegas for one season and just buries that team to the ground. I mean, it was so bad to the point where Max Crosby had to walk out of the facility. You know how you know it's bad when your best player on either side of the ball is asking to be out, and that was a complete disaster. And then just to kind of wrap up on this before we continue as well, a big shock to me was Carolina. Carolina to me was one of the biggest surprises of the whole season. Nearly knocked off the Rams in the playoffs. They're definitely going to be better this year. I think Bryce Young has started to figure it out. They need some pieces on defense, but they have a chance to be good for a bit. They'll be in the NFC South race. I think Tampa will be as well. Overall, this season had a lot of parity. Going into the Super Bowl, I'd probably give it like a solid B. I think if we had a few more competitive games in the wild card round, I think there was at least one or two that weren't that good. If every playoff game was competitive, you'd see an A minus for me, but I'd see a solid B for the whole year going into the Super Bowl.
The last thing I'll say also, two teams that kind of shocked me. The Lions was one,
Underachieving, right?
underachieving in a big way. Um, and the Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings is a big shock. I mean, now, I mean, shoot, man, I don't know. I don't know what you do at the quarterback position right now because it didn't seem like JJ McCarthy was the answer this year. Like I don't know what you do.
I mean, I'm just looking at that division because I shook my head watching that division somewhat. And the to have the Vikings and the Lions finish 9-8 when they were anticipated to what be at the top of the division.
Yeah,
That quarterback situation in Minnesota just
it
completely
is a
imploded.
is a mess, but also it goes to show you how good that division is technically. Because if you think about it, Green Bay, because of a tie against Dallas, that's essentially the reason why they got in. Because if
Right.
you think about it, if you eliminate that tie, right, and Green Bay loses that game, one of those other two teams it's in based on head to head. So that's
Yeah, I mean,
that's what's shocking about that. If
I
you
think
get
the
if you get what I mean.
I think the Vikings are kicking themselves letting Sam Darnold go, by the way.
Yeah. And also
Um,
they're kicking themselves that they were beating the Bears in Minnesota for much of that game and had a chance to sweep the Bears and they couldn't sweep the Bears.
well, I think the Bears are a better team than the
No, I I
Vikings.
I get it. I'm just saying the Vikings had a shot to beat them in Minnesota and they couldn't do it.
And I think the Lions just lost way too many coaching weapons
Yeah.
during the last run, and that killed them.
That I
And
agree with. And they didn't win the games early in the season that they were supposed to. If they would have started hot early in the year, it would have been a different story.
I also
But
think
that
Dan.
that game that would turn their season upside down, Nick, was the Thanksgiving game. Thanksgiving game against Green Bay was the beginning of the end, I think.
I also think that Dan Campbell was exposed as a head coach,
Yeah.
not having Ben Johnson, not having oh god, why am I forgetting names at the moment? What was his name? The Jets head coach.
Oh, Aaron Glenn.
I don't his name. That's bad when I can't even remember my own head coach's name. Well, that shows you how bad the Jets are.
Yeah, Aaron Glenn.
But when they lost Glenn and they lost Ben Johnson, that goes to show you that a coach doesn't do it all by themselves
No.
either. Also, I think
And
he
it goes to show you that good assistance also makes you a good head coach because you have good people around you that understand your scheme.
true, but I don't know. It's been an interesting up and down season, but that's what the NFL is, right? It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, and the final stage of that roller coaster is going to be Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara this Sunday, and it should be a great game.
Is it weird though? Like you're on a high when you're covering the NFL season, and then once the Super Bowl's over, and by the way, just in case people don't know what we do on the network here, we always have a post mortem football forecast episode after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so we'll go over the full season. Johnny will go over the final standings for who won the picks competition.
Our predictions that we had very early on in the
Yeah,
previous shows.
which, by the way, full disclosure, my preseason Super Bowl pick was well, I guess you could play it whenever you want. It was ass. I mean, let's just be honest.
I wasn't ready.
My preseason. Go ahead. Sorry.
If we keeping a buck right now, we ass.
My preseason Super Bowl prediction was a rematch, Nick, of Super Bowl one between Green Bay and Kansas City. It was terrible, terrible prediction.
Yeah, but you're not the only one who had Kansas City. I think I had Kansas City too. So
Who
like,
did,
well,
who did you have?
I
playing
can't.
49ers, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it was like because the Niners were supposed to be an incredible team this year. The Ravens, I think some people had the Ravens too.
Yeah, I think so.
But in the beginning, in the preseason, the Ravens were projected to win 13, 14 games.
Yeah, and be the number one seed.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The NFL's a freaking roller coaster. You have no idea what
No, you don't.
to expect.
That's why it's a harder league to predict too.
And that's why it's the most anticipated league to watch. Also, because you get a team like the Rams who just starts beating the Packers and the Rams in the regular season. I think they swept the Falcons, and one of the games was 30-0, if I remember correctly. Also,
Yep.
So that's why the NFL is one of the more interesting.
Not just 30-0, but 30-0 down in Atlanta. I'm pretty sure too.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
But the NFL's a roller coaster. That's why it's the most unique league to watch because everyone. The Ravens on paper were supposed to be the best team. What happened to the Ravens? They were a complete dumpster.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, didn't they start like 0-4, 0-5, and they almost made the playoffs?
I think they were 1-5.
And their
only win, I'm pretty sure, was against the Bears, or maybe their second win. And yeah, they almost got in.
Who did they have to beat? I forgot who they.
So the scenario was Pittsburgh. So it was a win. It was a win and in for both teams, and whoever lost was out. Yeah.
Is that incredible though that they started 1-5, and if they had won that game, they would have been in though?
Yeah.
And by the way, like, I feel bad for Harbaugh. Like now that he's the Giants head coach,
I feel bad too
because that's not Harbaugh's fault. Like,
no,
Lamar,
it's not. It's mostly Lamar not being healthy, I think.
See, if I'm the Ravens, I'd go back and look at that contract and restructure it. That's just me. Because I don't think you're going to get all that value out of Lamar, and maybe you could spend that money.
And you have now Jesse Minter as your coach, and now you're putting him in a really uncomfortable situation. Which this may sound like a bold take on February 4th, 2026. We have no idea what's happening with the upcoming season. That might end up being the beginning of the end of Lamar Jackson's career if this season doesn't go well from a coaching standpoint.
I mean, someone will always take a chance on him because he's got star quality.
I meant his career in Baltimore is what I meant.
Right. No. I'm just saying. I think if I'm the Ravens, I'd think about possibly either trying to get out from under that contract or trading and maybe getting some big first round picks out of that, maybe. But they're gonna, if they move off Lamar, they're gonna have to basically be in rebuild mode.
Yeah, they might. Well, to counter you on that, if they're gonna do that, they might end up waiting a few years because now I think it's too abrupt. They're not going to be able to find a quarterback that can duplicate what Lamar is currently doing. But if it's a couple of years down the road, then I probably wouldn't be opposed to it. So
yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's been a great season, and we'll culminate it at the end of this episode with a pick and a preview. So let's get through some of the coaching carousel news, part 2, week 2. Mike LaFleur hired as the Cardinals head coach. Is there really much to read into this? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I think it's cool though, Nick. And this is kind of showing where I live. The college he went to is only 20 minutes from me. So it's cool to see an Elmhurst College alumnus finally get a NFL head coaching job. I think it's pretty awesome. It just kind of sucks though that now he and his brother are in the same conference. So
yes,
Cardinals Packers is going to be really weird. That's gonna be interesting. We now have an NFC brother duo, which you don't usually see. You usually see AFC brother duos. So
Yeah,
that
well, you have the Harbaughs now, the Giants and the
yeah, that's gonna be a crossover though. And NFC and AFC.
right. That's going to be interesting this year. And then yeah, you have the Flares. Now I don't know much about his brother at all.
I don't know
So
much about his brother either, but I can tell you this: he has a lot of work to do.
I guess we'll see what happens. But you know what? He's got to deal with Kyler Murray, who's been a giant headache inside that locker room.
Yeah,
Um,
which who knows? He might end up getting traded at some point.
the problem is he's owed so much money
I know.
that who's going to trade to take that money on? I don't think
I know.
anyone is.
I know. And now that old clip is resurfacing. Now it's funny because he's gone. But have you seen that clip that's resurfacing on the first day that Jonathan Gannon was hired? They're like, "Let's go, brother. Let's do this thing together."
Yes, I did see that.
And then
Oh
he
god.
proceeded to only win like 13 games.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Gannon was such a disaster in Arizona. It's not even funny.
I know. And even the games that they were ahead in, they would find a way to lose all of them.
What a disaster. And then having oh god, why am I forgetting the quarterback's name? That took over for Kyler.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't remember his
He's the
name now.
journeyman. He was with the Colts. He was
Oh, that's right. I don't remember who this is now.
I'm looking it up really quick because I don't remember. Oh, Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I mean, shoot, I remember when he was on the Patriots.
I'm saying talk about a guy that has really like kind of found a niche, like just being a backup quarterback in this league and making
Yeah,
decent
yeah,
money doing it.
yeah. You knew that the Jonathan Gannon era, Nick, had reached a low point when they blew a absurd home lead to the Titans.
Oh my god, that game was insane.
Well,
That
we
was,
were we were pissed because I think I had the under and you had the under too, and we thought that the under was one in the third quarter and it didn't happen.
a complete freaking blow. Was that the one that the reverse of the football
Yep.
went backwards? That weird call that happened.
Yeah, which made absolutely no sense.
So what was it? Like it was a what was it? A punt or
It
what
was
was it?
it was a punt that turned into a illegal forward pass, essentially, I think, because
Yes,
it bounced off someone.
that's right. Ugh,
That's why.
what a
And it
disaster!
changed the whole complexion of the game.
What a disaster for the Arizona Cardinals. But
I know.
um, yeah, this is the only time you're going to hear a few minutes on the Cardinals. This one's kind of anticipated. Clint Kubiak hired as the Raiders head coach. Now Kubiak had a few options, right? From what I understood.
He did. Sure did.
What were some of the other options? Because I don't remember. Because there was a few. He interviewed for quite a few jobs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think he had a chance to interview in Arizona before LaFleur got the job, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had a chance to interview in Cleveland too, right?
Boy. By the way, that we'll get back to this in a second, but the whole Cleveland Browns, did you see the way that they interview the coaches and that's why people are canceling on them?
Yeah, which made no sense at all.
They're making them take like Wonderlic-ish type tests and knowledge tests and
Which is something that I was doing in college.
like last time I checked, there's no what's that dumb say? Oh, there's no math involved in this test. Like I didn't know you needed to take a knowledge test and then come in and interview too. Like it's kind of ridiculous.
I agree.
But yeah, so I guess you only took second round interviews with the Raiders and the Cardinals,
Oh, okay.
even though I think he's an idiot for giving up his job with Seattle.
Yeah, yeah. You're probably right. He could have waited another 2 years to take a head coaching job.
See, this is what I find odd in the NFL that these guys are so desperate to become head coaches that they're willing to take the shittiest job in the NFL as a head coach than stay in a situation where you could win a bunch of Super Bowl titles.
Right.
Look at Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh had something really good going until obviously the George Kittle injury hit. But you're telling me he wouldn't have been on a consistent team in San Francisco and the 49ers for years?
Oh, he would have, yeah. At least the next 5 or 6.
And then speaking of defensive coordinators, you saw Raheem Morris is now taking that job,
Yeah.
which, by the way, I think that's a perfect fit for Raheem Morris being a
It is
defensive
because
coordinator.
he's a better coordinator anyway than a head coach.
But to get back to this, it's going to be a long road for Kubiak in
I think
Vegas.
he'll be there a while though.
Yeah, but so these guys signed 4 5-year deals. It's mostly 5-year contract. I think it's going to take longer than the 5-year contract to get this team turned around.
I think so too, but they got to draft Mendoza first.
I feel bad for Mendoza, who's going to
No,
end up in Vegas.
No, I agree. What do you think? What do you think of some analysts saying that they shouldn't draft Mendoza? I think it's completely stupid.
They need a quarterback.
No, right. But I'm saying, do you agree that if they don't draft him, they're completely just missing the boat?
I agree. That's why I'm saying they need a quarterback. Geno Smith was a complete joke there. He threw over 30 interceptions last season.
Yeah.
And he keeps getting hurt because he can't avoid the pocket.
I know.
So, I don't know. I mean, is it a good hire? Sure. It's a good hire. But
it's a good hire if they want to win one playoff game. I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think you're winning a Super Bowl with this guy or anything anything like that.
You know what this felt like to me? Speaking of Cleveland, the Munkin hire that they made.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name? Mike Munkin or
Todd
Munkin, who left Baltimore to go to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Why would you leave Baltimore? Like that doesn't make sense to me either.
Well, you'd been in Baltimore a long time.
I don't know, but going to Cleveland, you realize the reason he's the head coach is because everyone just basically said, "Well, screw you. I'm not taking this job because I'm going to end up in purgatory if I take it."
I know, and I don't even know how long Munkin will last there. That's going to be interesting.
People are saying that maybe he gets 2 years before he gets run out of town next.
I don't know, man.
But we'll see. And then another one, because this one's interesting. Arthur Smith hired at Ohio State. Where was he? He was in Pittsburgh, right?
He was in Pittsburgh, and he's replacing Brian Hartline, who's now the new head coach at South Florida.
It's weird when you go the opposite way, meaning that a lot of times you'll see college coordinators or college head coaches go to the NFL. It's weird when they go from the NFL backwards.
Yeah, it is weird.
I mean,
I think this is a genius hire because this guy is a running back guru genius, and I think Ohio State is the backfield to do some interesting things with Bo Jackson and Isaiah West. I think they have a chance to be really, really efficient.
It's just weird.
And I think also Ryan Day knows that he's getting a guy who can open up some stuff offensively that Hartline later in his tenure couldn't. And Nick, I'm going to tell you what, and this may be the icing on the cake. I'm almost positive that there had to be internal discussions had between Jeremiah Smith and Ohio State brass because there were all those rumors that he was gonna dip, and he decided to stay. There's no way that Jeremiah Smith wasn't fully on board before the other Smith, if you will, was hired. So
this is crazy. Now we have to see if college football players are on board with coordinator hires. Who would have thought we'd ever see that?
I know,
but I don't know. So that
do you think this is a good hire? Do you
it's a decent hire. I mean, I think he got a bad rap in the NFL. It wasn't his fault. A lot of the stuff that happened.
And he works with a lot of good quarterbacks too.
That's for sure. But we'll see what happens. All right. I'm kind of interested and intrigued that you've actually put this story in because this game was so over anticipated by the NBA and by fans. because obviously we don't know if LeBron's in his final year. Is he going to retire?
Did you think for whatever reason the game just wasn't that good of a game? Like I was watching parts and I'm like, this game is not as good as it should be.
Now, the reason it had high anticipation was it was the first Sunday night basketball, the first SMB broadcast. Um, they had Caitlin Clark on in the pregame as her
Yeah,
contributor role.
Bob Costas on too. Bob Costas came back.
Well, so he's coming back to do the baseball, from what I
Okay.
understood. But the reason he was on this pre-show is because he did the official toss over when he did the NBA many decades ago now.
Yeah.
So he had like officially handed it over to Maria Taylor to take it fully now.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. So it was like a passing of the torch thing.
Yeah, which was kind of cool. And he did the open out of the intro, which was kind of awesome. And the intro they've done very well. And then they had the new Sunday night basketball theme, which I got to watch, and I'm trying to remember. Lenny Kravitz does the intro, and it was sick. When you have a chance, you got to go watch it. They did a very, very good job. NBC is really good at these themes and getting like these big time singers to get them to do them.
Okay, we'll do.
I mean,
It sounds awesome. So
yeah, like, well, who can forget Carrie Underwood and all that stuff that they do for the NFL? I mean,
right, exactly.
which, by the way, I don't know how they do those on time, because unless they're
My
recording a bunch of
guess,
them,
my
before,
guess, Nick, is that they record most of them in batches and they have them saved.
they have egg on their face though when major injuries happen, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure it's an easy edit because they have probably other versions from her and stuff like that they can still use that still apply and no one knows the difference.
But somehow they managed to avoid all the injury situations, which I don't. Tough in the NFL. The Lenny Kravitz one is cool. Way too much talk about the LeBron legacy, I feel like.
And like it's cool they're talking about it, but guys, it's early February. There's still much of the season to go. Like the story still isn't over yet, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I understand why it had a big game feel. It was at Madison Square Garden. The Lakers were in town. That's a
Do you think the Lakers have a chance to have a chance to get in the playoffs, or what do you think?
I mean, do they have a chance? Of course they do. Yeah, they have a chance to the 6th seed in the Western Conference right now. So,
Do you think they'll be able to maintain that?
yeah, because a lot of the teams below them are not great. I mean,
Is the West just weaker this year, or is it top heavy?
see, this is irony a little bit, because when I was growing up, because I because my birthday just happened. I'm 33 now.
Oh wow!
Um,
And a happy late birthday, by the way. I meant to serenade you, but there you go.
no, not a problem. So I'm 33. You're how old again?
I'm 26. I
So
turned
so
26 last September.
so I almost have a full generation gap between you and I.
Yeah.
So I remember the NBA.
I don't know the 90s NBC era like you do. So
Oop, if my Apple Watch would shut up. But the you can even go back to the early 2000s before the after the NBC era, and like the Western Conference was always the dominant conference of the two, always.
with the Lakers and the Rockets and the Clippers, right?
Yeah, I mean, just in general, the Spurs, like the Spurs were the dominating force for many, many years. Um, the Lakers for years, the Rockets, the Suns, the Mavericks, who are not having a good season right now. Currently, well, Anthony Davis is out for the entire season basically now, and Kyrie Irving has been a complete joke. But
When is Kyrie
um,
Irving going to retire? It seems like he's been in the league way too long.
not with the amount of money he has left, he's not retiring anytime soon. But it's weird. The Eastern Conference is now the dominating conference now, and it's the Knicks' year to win or bust, kind of like the Buffalo Bills in the NFL,
Okay.
where they had so many years to make the Super Bowl and they just didn't do it.
Is this the year the Knicks can make the NBA Finals?
Yes, not even a question. They really need to make the NBA Finals, considering all the massive injuries at the top of other teams.
Do you think they will? It's February 4th. Are you confident?
It's too soon now to really make a prediction for the finals, but I would say right now they're the second overall seed in the Eastern Conference.
And who's number one again?
Detroit, which has had an incredible turnaround in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch them later in this month. I'm going to the Bulls game in late February. It's a Saturday night game, so I'm
The,
excited about that.
the Pistons are a great team. They've really figured it out. Cade Cunningham looks amazing, by the way. And they just figured it out. Like they got all the young pieces in place. That core is gonna be around together for a while.
So this is the new generation of really good Pistons basketball.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time. Um,
Okay. Hey, so are you saying that I'm gonna enjoy watching this version of them play in person? Do you think?
you should. Yeah. Cade Cunningham, who got off to a rough start when he entered the league and got hurt, has now finally figured it out. And if you think about it, it has a little bit of a Derrick Rose feeling to it, a little bit, Cade Cunningham, where
Okay.
like very highly anticipated, overvalued entering the league, had some injuries.
And it has a young core similar to what the Bulls had with Gibson and Boozer and all of
Yeah,
those guys, right?
yeah,
Okay.
very much so. And then just look at the other teams like the Celtics. If they had Jason Tatum, we'd be having a different discussion about the Boston Celtics. But right now, with no Jason Tatum, and it looks like he was rushing to try to get back this year, which I thought would have been a mistake. But he finally said, I'm not pushing it. So they're the third overall seed, even without Jason Tatum being out, right behind the Knicks, which is incredible. But they're not going to have enough to beat the Knicks, I don't think. And then I look down the rest of the Eastern Conference. The Raptors are really not a threat. Cleveland's really not a threat. They just traded away DeAndre Hunter, too.
Yeah, that was a big trade. I did
I
see
think, I
that.
think that was with the Pistons, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So that
And
just made them better.
for a couple of picks too, right?
Yeah, but that the Pistons are just clicking on all cylinders, including making deals to make their team better.
For sure.
The Sixers and the sixth seed, that's a complete dumpster. Did you see the story that Paul George got suspended 25 games for violating the anti-drug policy?
Well, if it isn't Paul George doing something dumb, right?
That guy, like,
I mean, he was doing dumb stuff all the way back in his days in Indiana too, right?
yeah, I mean, and then also the podcast P situation, which was stupid.
Oh, geez, yeah, that's right.
And I don't know, his career is kind of on the down low at this point. I don't even know really what to expect. I mean, and just looking at the teams that are 7 through 10, Miami's not beating the Knicks, Orlando's not beating the Knicks, the
And
Bulls
the
are not beating
Bulls
the
aren't
Knicks,
beating the Knicks. No, the
and then the
Bulls might not even make the playoffs. They should. Hey, as a Bulls fan, they should just sell as much as they can because that team is going nowhere. And when I tell you that people in Chicago have wanted White traded for years, they've wanted him. They've wanted him gone for a long time.
I mean, the most highly anticipated things that you're talking about trade, I'll bring it up quick, is the whole Giannis Antetokounmpo situation and where he might end up. The Knicks were at the top, but they're saying they don't need him to win this year, which I think is correct. I think they're fine the way they are
Why would I just don't understand why the Bucks would trade their franchise player? That's what
because the team has nothing, has no assets left. Like the team is just horrible, awful. They're sitting in the 12th seed in the Eastern Conference.
so they've gone back to being the same old Bucks pre Giannis.
Pretty much. Yeah, they're 18 and 29 right now in the NBA. The only teams below them are the Nets, the Wizards, and the Pacers. And the Wizards and the Pacers have injuries. The Nets are just a dumpster, and I know it because I'm a Net fan. But the Eastern Conference on the top is much stronger now, I think, than the West. I think.
Interesting. Well, it seems based on our discussion, it very much seems that way. We'll see how the season progresses as we get closer to the postseason. Are we ready to talk about some UFC now?
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. Like the
Sure.
LeBron hype, because you brought it up. Like he should just retire. He's probably not going to.
Okay.
I think he's going to play one more season. Like I said, um, if the storyline, at least in my eyes, he should go back to Cleveland and play one more season because he won a title in Cleveland when he went back.
2016. Yep, against Golden State. It's the greatest, one of the greatest comebacks in finals history. Yeah,
That was the 3-0 series, right?
correct.
Or,
And
or
that
the
was
0-3.
the
Yeah.
and that was the legendary block also.
Oh, Andre Iguodala when he went up for
Yeah,
the dunk.
yeah, yep.
But
Oh,
he's
blocked by James.
well, yeah, Mike Breen, who unbelievable, one of the best play-by-play guys in
By the
my
way, I'll
opinion.
never forget that series, Nick, because I was down in Florida for vacation. I had an ear infection the entire series. So I was
Oh,
watching it. I watched every game down in Florida. I think I was down there the whole series. And when I got home to see the doctor after the finals were over, they're like, "Hey, Zan, you have an ear infection from swimming in the pool." I'm like, "Oh shit, okay."
oh,
So
I know that.
that's how I vividly remember where I was for all that stuff. So
I mean, the
yeah,
Lakers are in good hands. Luka is going to take over the team as the franchise lead once LeBron either retires or moves on. But like you said, the Knicks would be a great headline story for the media. Cleveland would probably be the proper destination
how big would a Knicks Celtics Eastern Conference Finals be for ratings?
for this year.
Yeah,
Um, Not as big as last year,
because of no Tatum.
because of no Tatum. Yeah,
So
but
ideally, what is the NBA? Who would the NBA ideally want the Knicks to play to go to the championship?
oh, in the NBA Finals, oof.
Well, no, I
Um,
mean the Eastern Conference Finals. Would they want Detroit versus the Knicks?
it'd be a great series. I think Detroit would win it because I think they have more firepower. And
Wait, you actually think Detroit would crush the Knicks
I don't know if they would
finals dream?
crush. I don't know if they would crush the Knicks, but like
No, I'm
if
saying they would crush their dreams of going to the finals.
I possibly, yeah, I think uh, Detroit's had an incredible year and no one expected it. Let's just put it that way. Um, but we'll see. I mean, if the Knicks make the finals, you're going to see buzz left and right across the country. If the
It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited if they make the finals. I'll watch every game for sure.
yeah,
There's no doubt about that.
all
And
right,
especially if they play Detroit, it give me an excuse to see if I could buy the least expensive nosebleed tickets in Detroit that I possibly can, just to be an ant to watch Game 6 or something like that.
maybe.
I don't
All
know.
right,
I don't know.
two more quick topics here. UFC 325, Volkanovski versus Lopez. Um, this fight kind of bored me for the first 3 rounds of the 5. It
Well,
felt like
Nick, if it makes you feel better, I don't know if you watched the first fight, but this fight was basically a carbon copy of the first fight, in like slow motion. It was kind of weird.
I feel like Diego was literally just chasing Volkanovski around the octagon. That's what it felt like for the first 3 rounds, at
Yeah, and for
least.
whatever reason, he was surprised at the decision, which I thought was interesting. And he also said that it's a step by step process, but Volkanovski even admitted it. He's like, he can't have this chin that just keeps eating for shots and expect to be okay and become a champion.
That
He's
was
like,
crazy, by the way, that he kept getting hit in the chin and he wasn't getting cut up.
no, I know it was insane, but Volk's point was he can't survive that way. Eventually, his chin is going to give out. So, um,
Can
his
you be
point
that strong in the face?
you can for the first couple years of your career, but once you get to year 4, year 5, people find out your chin isn't as susceptible. The greatest example is Chuck Liddell. After Chuck Liddell lost his light heavyweight title, he was viciously knocked out on several occasions. So people figured it out. So Volk doesn't want Lopez going down a similar path to some of these other guys that have sustained the same thing. So
I don't know. I mean, I watched most of the main card. Um, I don't know. I didn't feel like 25 stood up to 24 a little bit.
I thought 25 was pretty exciting. I don't know if it was better than 24, but I thought the Benoit Saint Denis performance against Dan Hooker was unbelievable. He
That
looked,
was an incredible fight.
yeah, he looked really good, and then Mauricio Huffy, the Brazilian, looked unreal. He looked awesome, but obviously the stinker was the heavyweight fight.
Oh
So
God,
that was not good. That was not good at
was
all.
that the one where the guy was hanging on for dear life or no?
Well, partially, yeah, but eventually Derek Lewis got beat though.
Oh God,
So
Derek Lewis. Oh,
mm,
I'm talking about on this card. Who was the one that kept holding on to the fight? Was that the Teixeira fight?
yeah, it was. Mm-hmm.
That
Yep,
was so odd that he just was like bear hugging him like at one point. Like it just
I know. That's what they call sloppy heavyweight MMA. When guys are tired, that's what they do.
I didn't know Floyd Mayweather made it into the octagon and started hugging people.
It's a funny point, but I think it's justified for a fight like that. It's very well. Listen, by the way, on the card itself, I went 7-6. Jack went 9-4. So far through two UFC events, I'm 14-10. So we're
And the
doing.
next major card is what, March 7th?
Yeah, it's Oliveira versus Holloway. Should be a good fight.
I heard that's like a highly anticipated fight.
Yeah, it's a rematch of a
That's a
fight.
BMF title, right?
Yeah, it is. Yep. Yeah, it
By the
should be
way,
a good fight.
that terminology still makes me laugh to this day. That
No, it's
BMF title.
No, it's pretty funny because it's really a fake belt that doesn't really mean anything. It's just there because the UFC needs a championship for everything now.
That sounds like
So
like a freak accident. Like someone just said it, and they're just like, "Hey, we're the UFC. We can market anything to the oblivion." Oh, I'm Dana White. I'll turn it into a massive bonus and money and advertisers, and then we'll run with it.
that's what they did. They've been doing it for 7 years almost now, so it's still a thing. So
How was the commercial
better,
ratio? Was
better,
it?
a lot better. Yeah. Yeah,
Because
they did a lot more split screen and they did some different things. Yeah.
because 24 was brutal. The amount of commercials in it.
Yeah, they fixed that, and they had most, if not every, walkout, which was good. So you get
That's
to see
always
the
weird.
entrances.
That's weird when they don't include the walkouts to some of the fights. I
I
feel
I
like.
kn- I know, I know.
I mean, the other thing they could do to get around the commercials thing is they should do more packaged stuff in the breaks.
I agree. There is one stream though, Nick, where if you go to the multicam feature that they have in Paramount, you get no ads. I guess.
Oh, is that kind of like what they do like for the national championship where you can
Yeah.
watch a feed
Yep. Yep.
or you can watch the
So
sky cam or
one
whatever?
screen is the crowd, another screen is the corners, and then the other screen, which is the biggest one, is the fight itself.
By the way, and this is another thing I find hilarious too when watching some of these fights, when you hear the corners screaming at
Yeah,
their fighter.
you can fully hear it. Yeah.
And first of all, is that even allowed?
Oh wow, what?
They're literally telling them sometimes what to do in the middle of the octagon there.
No, they're allowed to do that. They're allowed to coach like that.
Oh, that's like tennis. Like they used to have rules that you couldn't coach from the box, and then tennis changed it, and they're now allowing it.
You just can't coach whenever a referee intervenes for a foul.
Well, that makes sense because the fight's being stopped, isn't it? So at least that makes sense for me. Um, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes they're yelling and screaming for the court, knock him down, knock him down. I'm like,
Yeah, they
right.
do that a lot.
And then my favorite is when they take you into the corner and you don't understand a freaking word because it's in some language like that I can't even understood to save my life at times.
Right.
They should have a translation thing
They
there.
do. In between rounds, they do.
Oh,
They
do that?
do. Oh yeah, they
No.
do.
I'm talking about when they take you into the corner between rounds.
No, they do. They do.
Oh, they do?
Oh yeah. They do. The guy is super fluid. His name's Fabiano. He's really good at what he does.
Is
Yeah.
he the one that also does all the post-fight stuff or no?
The translator, yeah, that's him too. Yep.
That guy's sick. Like the amount of languages he speaks.
Yeah, I met him in Chicago. He was really cool.
How many
Yeah.
languages does he know?
He
Like,
knows like 10, he told me.
what?
Yeah, he's really fluid. Yeah.
That's a good job because sometimes that's hard to keep up with, knowing all those languages. But I don't know. Overall, the card was good. I would say UFC 324 was better than 325. I also think the names were more high profile in 324 than 325.
They were more high profile in terms of social media, but this was the first fight that was really a title fight because the last one was an interim belt. This was Volkanovski defending his featherweight title. So in terms of prestige, the main event was bigger because of who the champion was. But yeah, if you want to talk about social media following and that sort of thing, the last card was a bigger reach card because of Patty Pimblett. So there's a lot of ways to quantify it, I think.
Okay. Now let's put an end to the show. Let's get into our Super Bowl 60.
Are we going deep on this or are we being brief because we're gonna save it for the other stuff we're doing?
Let's be brief because we're gonna spend like an hour and a half on the Super Bowl on Friday.
Okay.
So
Can I
we'll
go
try
first on
yeah,
my pick?
yeah, go.
I'm just gonna say it. I think Seattle covers this number and wins Super Bowl 60. I think they're the better team. I think Mike McDonald has had his guys ready to go. They've flown under the radar pretty much all season. I love how they haven't really put themselves out there and tried to put on a certain persona. Same with New England, but I think Seattle just has a little bit more of that raw story where they were the true underdog story of this. Now he has a chance to be the youngest coach ever to win a title. And obviously, Mike Vrabel has had a great year too. But as I alluded to earlier in this episode, this was a major surprise for New England to get to this point. And as long as they're even remotely, even a little bit competitive, it should be a fun game. But I think the safe pick here is take the number, take Seattle, and I think they'll probably end up winning by about 7 to 10 points. You might guess. It'll either be 27-20, Nick, or 27-17. Somewhere in there. It's going to be a game where they're going to be up for most of the game, though. So
Yeah, you and I are pretty much clicking on the same boat of this one. I have Seattle covering. The number is not ridiculous. It's not like 6.5 or 7.5. It's a decent number. It's under a touchdown, which
and it's a coverable number on the New England side if you really think about it, because if they have a few plays go their way, they're covering it at the very least. So
now, just for anticipation's sake, obviously we're recording this on Monday. By the time we get to our live show, this could be 5.5 or 6, depending when we do it.
right,
I from what I understand, like 65 or 70% of the tickets are on Seattle.
yeah, that's what I've
Um,
heard too.
and I think most of the money lines are going to be on Seattle. Well, let me take that back. I think most of the money lines are going to be on the Patriots because there's more money to be made
Yeah,
on the
and
Patriots.
you're going to see a lot of money lines, I think, on the over because the Super Bowl tends to go over.
Uh, true, true. I think it's 45.5 now, right?
Yes,
Right?
correct.
Yeah,
Yep,
there it is.
yeah.
Yeah. Which again, that's not a crazy number, but a lot of times Super Bowls now, the last couple have been very high scoring,
Super high scoring. Well, last year was high scoring in the most unexpected way because it was so one sided.
but these are two great defenses. I'm wondering if the under might hit on this though.
I don't remember when the last. Let me do a quick Google search. The last time.
But these are two top flight defenses. Would you really expect 46 points out of this game?
I don't know. What do you think,
I don't think so. I think these are two top flight defenses this
Nick?
year.
The last time the under hit in the Super Bowl was 4 years ago when the Rams played the Bengals. Final score was 23-20, and the over under was 50 something.
I think the under is going to hit on this game because, again, Seattle's been incredible defensively. The Patriots
Oh,
have
the
been,
over under in 2022, Nick, was 48.5 on Rams Bengals. And
yeah, that's high.
only 43 points were scored.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see 46 points scored in this game. I don't. I think the Patriots are going to come out and smother, and I think Seattle's going to smother Drake May. And Drake May has a shoulder injury right now. Currently, he's fighting an illness right now. Currently, does that worry you slightly about Drake May a little bit?
A little bit, which makes me more confident in my Seattle pick if he's not
Well,
100%.
if you're asking me just strictly online, I don't know. I think there's a lot of questions with Drake May. I would lean on Seattle, and I would lean on this 4.5 if you can get it because it's. I think that's an easy money winner right there.
Yeah, but overall, though, it should be a good game. Again, this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern kickoff on NBC, and I guess that's a perfect segue into, I guess, the final 3 minutes of showtime here. Nick, do you want to talk about all the stuff we're going to be doing?
Yeah. So Callan and I have been working really hard behind the scenes, and we put together an event, and I just confirmed another one as we were sitting here. So we're doing what's called Clearing the Bench Super Sunday Takeover, which is going to be coverage. It starts on Friday. So Friday we'll do the football forecast Super Bowl show live. That'll be six. Well, some people are asking me for a little later. We might do like 6:30 to 8. That's probably where we're going to lean. So 6:30 Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll get final parameters, but that's going to be our leadoff coverage to the Super Bowl. And then on Saturday, which is also going to be part of our coverage, Christy and Trevor are going to do a 2-hour show. I don't know what banner or what show name or what it's going to be. It's just going to fall under our ETB Super Bowl coverage. That's probably going to be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday.
And
And
what's
then
going to differ from their show as opposed to the Friday live show?
it's just adding to the coverage because Trevor is not on our stuff.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
And then at 9 p.m. Eastern, following that show, Unnecessary Wages is going to have a Super Bowl edition show Saturday night, all gambling for the entire hour. So then you're going to have that. That's it for Saturday. Sunday, we are going to have Zanziger Part 2, Gridiron Gurus. I did check with all three of them. They are going to be there with you.
Okay.
So it's going to be the three of them and you.
I was gonna say they better be because I know how to host a show myself, but it would be much better if they were all there too.
So you four are going to do the first 2 hours of the coverage on Super Bowl Sunday. And then Callan and I are going to do a special edition of Press Row, Super Bowl edition, probably 3 to 5 ish, probably somewhere in there. And then we have a special audio only show for benchmarks. It's a special edition, 6 p.m. Eastern time, called the 11-hour marathon, which talks about how the pregame coverage has become absolutely ridiculous for Super Bowl day. And
that'll be a listen to right up until kickoff.
yeah, so we put the episode together. I think it's like 15 minutes on the audio side.
Okay.
So that'll take you till right around 6:30, and you'll watch the game. Ben said he was interested in doing some post game coverage after, so maybe we can get a few of us to come together after the game, depending how late it goes, and we can react to the game after that. And yeah, that's pretty much how our coverage. You're gonna get it starts Friday and it goes all the way up to the game Sunday.
Yeah, so very unique. It's not what we've done in the past, but because we have more live verticals now, we figured we'd use all of them. And I think that about puts a bow on a pretty exciting episode of episode 303, right?
Yeah, so that's it. You got our Super Bowl prediction. And then we transition next week officially out of all of football, and we start making our way a little bit of college ball, a little bit baseball pitchers and catchers report very soon in the next couple weeks. Um,
Oh, that's right. I haven't done. Now it reminds me, I haven't done a full year of this show with you yet, so I don't really know what. It's gonna be interesting to see what the March and April calendar is
oh,
gonna look like with stuff to talk about because I
speaking
started
of
doing this
March,
with you in August.
yeah, speaking of March Madness also,
Yeah,
so we're gonna have to preview the tournament coming up, which is going to be interesting now with all the NIL garbage and nonsense being involved in it.
yeah. Which, by the way, if Illinois gets the tournament site path of St. Louis, Chicago, and Indy, you might be seeing a lot of on-site coverage from me at all three of those. So hopefully,
You know what?
hopefully we'll get some boots on the ground based on where all the sites are,
You
or
know what?
from yours truly over here.
We got to try to get Zinger Part 2 live from one of the arenas to see
Yeah,
if we
we
can
get it.
set it up.
Yeah, we got to do that. That's for sure.
But yeah, so like I said, Major League Baseball, NBA, college basketball, um, obviously UFC because that's year round. Um, yeah, so now that it's weird, right? Now that both the NFL and the college football season are over,
Yeah,
right? So we got to make the transition the next line over. Um, obviously, hitting for the cycle will be back and really be boots on the ground for baseball. So make sure you tune into them as well. Um, make sure you like and subscribe. YouTube.com/ETB Network for whether it's our uh, taped episodes, whether it's our live shows, whether it's a short videos, which we're working really hard to do some more.
yeah.
Um,
We have content on all mediums coming out almost every day now.
but
There's always something new up. So
yeah, also if you like our late night programming, the ETB Lounge really has taken off in massive numbers. So on Mondays and Saturday nights. So there's plenty of things. So just make sure you check us out, and that'll do it.
yeah, although this week though for lounge, you guys already did your Monday show Sunday night though, right?
Correct. But I there might be one Saturday night before the Super Bowl. I have to find out. So I'll have to see how that works into the scheduling. But until then, enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy what is that? The 2015 rematch, right?
Yeah, from Super Bowl 49. Yep. Yep.
Where
Malcolm Butler intercepted the ball at the end of the game and Seattle should have ran it, but they didn't.
you realize if Marshawn Lynch runs that ball, Seattle wins that Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He was having a no pun intended beast of a game, if I remember correctly. They couldn't stop him
He sure
at
was.
all.
He sure was.
That was Pete Carroll, though, right?
Yep. And that was Belichick's third to last Super Bowl because he won it in 16, then 19, because then he won two more after that. So yeah, it was nearing the end of the Belichick reign, or was a few years away. So
But stay safe. Enjoy the Super Bowl. I'm sure we're going to talk about food when we come back for the Super Bowl too, because we have some interesting stuff I think we're going to be doing for the Super Bowl this year. Do you usually take in or no?
yeah, usually I'll watch it from home, but actually there's a steakhouse I like. I went to it on Christmas Eve, and they're doing a Super Bowl viewing party at the steakhouse. So I may end up going there for the first half. We'll see. I need to get a table still, but that's an option. Or we might just order in pizza or something. We usually watch it from home though. Um,
You don't do the traditional wings?
some years we have, but pretty much my mom and I are the only ones who like wings. My dad is not into that, so we try
Hmm.
to cater to what we all want. So we might bring it back though. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right. That'll do it for the episode. This is episode 303. He's Zain Bando. I'm Nick Morgasen. When we come back next week for episode 304, the Super Bowl will be over. We will recap Super Bowl 60. We'll talk about the commercials. We'll talk about the halftime show. We'll
And of
talk
course,
about
we have to make our way to early Super Bowl 61 forecast picks, right?
that's right. You and I always have a chuckle about
Which, by the way, my initial forecast pick, Nick, was even worse. And I haven't talked about this publicly in a year. Before I switched to Green Bay, Kansas City, my original pick was even worse. It was Baltimore versus Detroit. So, yeah, two terrible picks. So,
but that'll do it. Have a good week, everybody. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and we will see you next week.
cheers, everyone. Have a good one.